My name is Gio, and the Flash has made me the craziest man alive. To the outside world, I'm just an ordinary calm YouTuber, but secretly, with the help of a god-awful show, I'm currently going completely insane. However, I am the only one with the patience to talk about this. So let's discuss the Flash. What is up, YouTube? My name is Gio, and much like Barry Allen is doomed to keep messing up the timeline, I am cursed to constantly make videos about this show until it dies in a whimper. Yes, after a long wait, we are finally talking about Season 7 of The Flash, which may possibly be the worst season of a comic book television series I have ever seen. Never before has a show taken a more drastic nosedive in quality. At least with Batwoman, I didn't expect much. The bar was not high. But The Flash should be better. It has had amazing seasons before, and even within the bad ones, they have had at least a handful of solid episodes in it. However, Season 7 takes all the good faith left with the show and proceeds to beat it down faster than what I do in my spare time. At this point, you're probably saying, come on Gio, is it really that bad? Well, hopefully this video will answer that very question. So sit back as I explain why The Flash Season 7 is worse than you remember. And if you end up enjoying the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you're always notified when I release new content, and it helps with algorithm stuff. Also, if you want to follow me on social media or join the Discord, all the links will be in the description down below. Unlike what my other 4 videos on The Flash may lead you to believe, I used to be a big fan of the show. I've probably watched the entire series at least twice before I even started making content on it. So I think I got a pretty good grasp of the rules of this universe, which only makes it so much more infuriating when the Flash constantly breaks said rules at every turn. This season has absolutely no consistency with the world building from prior seasons, and it makes you wonder if the writers have actually watched the show before. The best example of what I mean is the show's use of dark matter. For context, in The Flash, it has been established since episode 1 that having dark matter within your system is how you obtain powers and become a metahuman, as the materials messes around with your body to varying degrees, resulting in special abilities. This concept is practically the foundation of the show, and one of the most recent examples of this can be seen in episode 16 of season 4. The team is looking for a meta who can transfer powers from one person to another, and when he does it to Barry and Iris, Caitlin makes a point to focus on that dark matter within her system.
Well, I've run every test I can think of. EKG, cellular regression synthesis, brain chemistry, and dark matter confirms it. Iris is a speedster. Everything that was a part of you, your speed, connection to the speed force, the dark matter, it's all a part of Iris now.
So with that knowledge in mind, can someone please explain to me, how the f*** does Iris get powers 2 separate times this season? Once at the end of the Mirrorverse arc, and another in a connection to the Speed Force. For context, in episode 3, Iris is able to have a similar power set to one of the main antagonists, Eva. The show's explanation is that it's because she spent so much time in the Mirrorverse during the prior season. But that's not how Eva got her powers. She got them the night of the particle accelerator explosion, which put dark matter into the systems of a bunch of people in Central City, and those who were affected got powers. Iris was not affected by the particle accelerator, so if she has no dark matter in her system, how the hell is she able to have these abilities? The connection with the Speed Force is no better. Like I showed in that clip before, when Iris got Barry's speed through the dark matter, she also gained the connection to the Speed Force. Those two elements are inherently linked, as with no dark matter, Barry was not able to connect to the Speed Force. It's the same logic Cisco used when creating a metahuman cure. By focusing on the dark matter in a person's system, the serum can neutralize a person's meta abilities. So, with all of this, Iris shouldn't have any connection to the Speed Force, as she has no dark matter in her DNA that could make that connection. The writers just pulled this out of their ass as a way to give Barry his speed back again at the start of the season, as apparently the little spark of the Speed Force Iris has inside of her was enough to power a device that gave Barry back his abilities. The rules of dark matter are the foundation of this show's lore, so screwing this up from the start with no explanation is already a bad sign, and we're just getting started. Let's move on to the Flash's favorite subject, time travel. As inevitable as the day will turn to night, the Flash always fucks up this concept. Towards the end of the season, Barry starts seeing hallucinations of his daughter Nora from 2049, and he starts to believe that there is something wrong. As a result, he wants to time travel to the future, but doesn't, as he's scared to create another Flashpoint? What? Okay, for those of you who don't remember, Flashpoint was created as a result of Barry going back in time to save his mother, pretty much making a whole new timeline. Now, Flashpoint has always been established as a result of going back in time. Keyword being back, not forward. Let me visually show you what I mean. Here is the main timeline. This is the past, this is the future, and this is the present. Now, going back in time to change an event will create a new timeline, so when you go back to the present, everything will be different. This is what is referred to as Flashpoint. Now, if you go into the future and change something, yes, the original timeline has been altered, but once you head back to the present, nothing will be changed. Therefore, you cannot create a Flashpoint by going to the future. This isn't even me speaking out of my ass either. Season 3, the same season that introduced the concept of Flashpoint, had Barry going to the future with no problem or concern. So why is it all of a sudden an issue? It doesn't make a lick of sense, especially when all he really would have to do is pop into the future, check on Nora, then run back. It's not like time rates are a thing anymore. Plus, all the power of what happens to the timeline is in Barry's hands. So this shouldn't be a problem. This almost makes as less sense as what the writers did to the Speed Force this season. While this timeline bullshit can be chalked up to Barry being a moron, what they turned the Speed Force into has massive implications for future seasons. For context, the Speed Force is the entity that gives speedsters their powers. We are first introduced to the embodiment of this force in Season 2, and from that point on, it only really appears a handful of times. So I think it's safe to say that this all-powerful force is just that, a force of nature that is the source of speedsters' powers. No need to complicate it, right? So the show made it complicated. Yeah, in Season 7, after Barry and Iris recreated the Speed Force, they unintentionally made 3 other forces, those being the Strength, Still, and Sage Force. And those forces of nature tried to kill the Speed Force, leading to it escaping to Star Labs. Even though, in Episode 3, Wells stated that the Speed Force can't truly be dead.
No, but the Speed Force is an elemental part of the universe, so...
Theoretically, it could have never disappeared.
With that, the show starts to make the Speed Force into an actual character, even calling in Nora after it takes up the appearance of Barry's dead mother, which is wholly unnecessary. This is a force that's been around since the beginning of time, and you expect me to believe that it will have a temper tantrum and be scared to be alone?
And please, Barry, help me.
No.
You I'll be the only force for eons to come, and I'll be alone.
And you know what? I can even let that slide if I want to. We could just say that because the Speed Force was revived as a result of Barry and Iris' love, yes, that is actually the show's explanation, but one brain tumor at a time here, that it gave it human emotions. However, what makes this change break every future season is that in episode 18, we are shown that Barry can call upon the Speed Force whenever he needs its help. Meaning, Team Flash has the ability to call a god for aid in a fight. I mean, look at this. How do you lose anything after that? How do you create any future stakes? Because the moment it seems like Barry may lose, just call the Speed Force. It'll be more than happy to help out. Jesus H. Christ. And you know what? That isn't even the worst in the destruction of world building Season 7 has left in its wake. No, that is merely a speck of dust in comparison to what the show does to the rules put in place after Crisis. Because in episode 17, we get the return of G.I.Gio, the Flash originally from Earth 3. This action from the writers may be the most brain-dead move I have ever seen from a CW show. For context, during Crisis on Infinite Earths, when Oliver Queen recreated the multiverse, he merged several Earths together to get Earth Prime, which now has a combined history as shown with Supergirl apparently always teaming up with the Flash in this new timeline. We are also told that there are no more doppelgangers as they have died as a result of Crisis.
Not a single one of our doppelgangers survived to make it to Earth Prime. Billions of worlds, trillions of people gone.
Harry. Jesse.
So, my question is, how the hell are Jay and his wife alive when they are the doppelgangers of, drumroll please, Barry's parents? It doesn't make sense, no matter how you slice it. If they are alive, why not Jesse Quick from Earth 2? Why not Harry from the same Earth if we're allowed doppelgangers? And what about this new Wells? Yeah, side rant. After Crisis, we were left with Nash Wells as Earth Prime's new Harrison Wells. And apparently, when Nash sacrificed himself to give Barry his speed back at the start of the season, the universe fixed it by reviving the original Wells.
I have a theory that when Nash and all the other Wells were removed from the timeline, the universe required a balancing act. One Wells to make up for all those lost.
What makes Wells so special that he gets brought back by divine intervention? Or better yet, what is the history of this Earth? Was Jay around before Barry? Was he the original speedster? How does that affect the show's past? What the Harry fuck? This show, within one season, has broken almost every rule it has previously established for itself. As a longtime fan, it is infuriating to see this show's foundation crumble before my eyes. But at least Barry's powers are consistent, right? Right?
Didn't just give you your old powers back, it gave you a new one. Enhanced cognition by way of a Speed Force booster shot.
Not even the Flash's powers are safe from this anus scum of a show. Hell, most of the power levels are screwed beyond belief. Some quick examples are Abracadabra's wand and Eva's reflection powers. Abracadabra's wand is future tech, but what are the limits of it? In his episode, it seems as if it could do whatever the plot needs it to. And how does Barry stop him? With a talk.
What are the odds that doing this will bring them back? How would they feel? Knowing you annihilated an entire city in their name. The only way for you to heal is to face your trauma.
Okay, you know what? This talk makes sense, as it was established that Abracadabra isn't a complete villain, just a guy who wants to see his family again. Okay, what about Eva? Well, in episode 3, we are told that she can travel and attack through any reflective surface. Do you understand how powerful that is? The bitch could come through your eyes if she wanted to. Plus, she apparently moves at the speed of light. God, I wonder how Barry will get out of this one.
No, Eva, please don't. You told my husband that you wanted to bring peace to this world. Look around. Is this your idea of peace?
They've grown too strong for me to control.
Oh, another talk, this time from Iris. Fine, okay, what about the forces? These people are incredibly powerful, as they are literally the entities of gods, who not only can absorb Barry's powers, not only are they unaffected by metacuffs, but they have powers that consist of incredible strength, mind manipulation, and the ability to control time. Like, holy tits, these people are OP as hell, especially the Still Force. How do you beat someone with the ability to control and manipulate time?
And once I saw that, it helped me let go of that pain, Dion.
You always wanted a real family? Give us a chance.
But you can choose another. One where you're not alone.
For fuck's sakes! This has become the formula for Season 7. Step 1. Fight the villain of the week and lose no matter how much stronger you should be. Step 2. Figure out something tragic about said villain. Step 3. Talk down the villain. Step 4. Profit. I mean, a third of the episodes followed this formula, and I think this was done because The Flash has made Barry Allen too powerful. For example, in episode 14 of season 6, Wally West returns to show off a cool new lightning projection power. He implies it took a lot of time to learn and takes a deep connection with the Speed Force. It seems to have a similar principle to throwing a lightning bolt. Kinetic energy needs to be built up before being released. Now, in season 7, we see this power progress to the point to where Barry's kids from the future, Bart and Nora, are able to use lightning like shurikens and whips. This is still acceptable, as it's safe to assume that they have been practicing these abilities for a while, and we are shown them doing some kind of build-up beforehand. However, this turns into a problem during the final fight of the season, which I have a lot to say about. But for now, we see Barry, who has had no training in this, and the Reverse Flash, who has no connection to the Speed Force or training, about to fight Godspeed. And they do this. What are these Star Wars shenanigans? First off, there is no buildup in kinetic energy that would allow everyone here to keep a constant stream of lightning. And second of all, how can Barry use this power so easily with no training? Hell, how is Thawne able to do this? The twat was just brought back by the Speed Force. If he knows how to use this power, why has he never done it before? We have 3 speedsters here in a climactic fight, and they are battling with lightsabers. Really let that sink in there. This scene is f***ing atrocious. Even if I accept this power, Barry shouldn't be able to just master the ability so quickly. It should take training like all the other new skills he has had to learn throughout the series. Or, better yet, why not just use, I don't know, your speed, which, funnily enough, has increased exponentially this season. Barry has gotten a permanent speed boost, not once, but twice this season. When him and Iris told Nash to go f*** himself and made their own artificial speed force, making his sacrifice completely pointless. Seriously, f*** this show. And at the end of the Forces arc, when all 4 entities stay in the Speed Force.
Since we rebooted the Speed Force, I'm faster than ever. So with you all here, I feel...
Faster? You are. With all of us together, you'll be faster than you ever imagined, Barry.
This is a guy who back in season 3 was able to break the fabric of space and time in his boots. And you want to make him more powerful? Are you high? So what does a writer do when their protagonist is too powerful? Simple! Write them out of the episode. If we include all the episodes where Barry gets sidelined or doesn't fight a villain, on top of the episodes where the solution was a therapy appointment, that brings the total of 10 episodes where Barry Allen is pointless or at best his speed is useless. That is more than half of the 18 episode season. Oh, you want proof? Let's do a roll call real quick. Episode 4 beats Abracadabra with a talk. Episode 6 talks down the Still Force and Barry isn't even in the episode. Episode 7 Frost takes down the villain. Episode 8 another Frost focus episode. Episode 9 nothing happens and is completely filler. Episode 10, 11, and 12 the villain gets talked down. And finally episode 13 and 14 Barry gets sidelined. For a show called The Flash, he sure isn't the priority in many episodes. DC, CW, or whoever is in charge, what are you numbskulls doing over there besides shoving your thumbs up your asses? You managed to make your protagonist so powerful that every time he fights a villain, you have to either cripple him to a stupid degree or write him completely out of the episode. Congratulations, writers. This show's power levels have officially been screwed. You know, I used to be able to say, The Flash doesn't make sense half the time, but at least the characters are well written. I can't say that no more, because this season made almost every character dumb or pointless. Let's start off with the 2 who contribute the least to the show, Cecile and Allegra. These 2 have way too much time dedicated to them this season. Both got their own episodes, with Allegra's episode 14 being the lowest rated episode in the show's history on IMDb. Both these characters add next to nothing to the plot this season. At least Cecile has some roots in law enforcement, so she can potentially provide an escape from the constant meta fights. But Allegra does nothing. Her episode is bad on not just a writing level, but a production level, which I never talk about. Just look at the choreography in this scene. People standing around doing nothing, this guy tripped over the slowest moving target, and they all went down in one hit. Oh, and the plot is just as pointless. Basically, Allegra gets caught up in her cousin Ultraviolet's mission to kill the doctor that changed her into an assassin. Allegra gets a power boost that she never uses again, she saves her cousin, and that cousin dies 2 episodes later. Yeah, that's how irrelevant this episode is to the overall plot. The whole reason this story happened is killed off 2 episodes later. Cecile is no better. All we learn is that at one point she was in a mental institute and got some development for Chester, which could have been done in any other storyline. These episodes were completely unnecessary and genuinely makes me think that these 2 characters are just here to fill up time. But while both of them are completely pointless, they are also just C-list characters on the show. So even though the filler is annoying, it doesn't infuriate me on the same level as what the writers did to Caitlin and Frost this season. If you have seen my video on the Flash Season 6, you may remember this clip. Caitlin, Frost, f*** you, they're different characters. Well, this season, they actually went all in on that idea, because at the end of episode 4, Caitlin and Frost get separated from each other. So just when you think Team Flash's roster can't get any more bloated, the show says, hold my beer. However, what makes this change frustrating is that the writers do nothing interesting with this concept. At most, we get a small arc with Frost, but just like Cecile and Allegra's episodes, it's entirely pointless. For context, during the main subplot for the season, we are introduced to a woman named Christian Kramer. She has been sent to CCPD by the governor to arrest Frost for her past crimes. Now, while I'm confused on why they wouldn't let Frost off the hook, considering 3 out of the 4 crimes she's being charged for were committed on people who became members of Team Flash and would likely drop the charges or at least back her up. Plus, she helped save the world on several occasions. I am willing to let that slide, as there is a potential for a good story here. That potential ended up being wasted, as Frost gets 2 episodes dedicated to her and this conflict. The first one consists of her hunting down her future love interest who is trying to frame her, and the episode ends with her getting arrested. But the second episode is where I start to question my life decisions. As the name implies, episode 8, The People vs. Killer Frost, focuses on the trial of Frost, more specifically her sentencing. The defense is pushing for a 10-year plea deal with the possibility of parole, but out of nowhere, the prosecution proposes the idea of forcing Frost to take the metahuman cure. This potentially could kill her, so instead of listening to Cecile and Frost, who said to do nothing, Caitlin decides to come up with a plan to neutralize the metahuman cure at CCPD. Now, I for one can't imagine what could go wrong in a plan that involves taking a potential punishment off the table to a believed to be dangerous metahuman mere hours after this option was put on the table. What's the worst that could happen?
Your Honor, we have a new update regarding a relevant incident that could affect your ruling. Earlier today, the metahuman cure supply at CCPD was rendered inert. CCPD security cameras were hacked at the exact moment the cure was destroyed.
It was me, Your Honor. I did it, not Frost.
She's lying, Your Honor. Killer Frost is clearly behind this crime because her criminal past is the same as her criminal present.
I am not—
Oh shit, they put the dots together, you morons! You didn't see this as a possibility? Even if I was to believe the idea that Caitlin wasn't thinking straight under distress, which she has proven otherwise on numerous occasions, the point of this sentencing is to show that Frost isn't a deceptive villain. So what made you think that sabotaging the sentencing would work in any way? It doesn't even matter, because Kramer had someone recreate the formula for the cure. So congratulations, you f***ed yourself 18 ways to Sunday. As a result of this assassination of Caitlin's character, Frost refuses to take the metahuman cure, and instead convinces the judge to give her life in prison without the possibility of parole. So it looks like Frost is going to be away from the show for a while, but at least this means that they're going to start to cut down on the cast a bit. So how do the writers f*** it up? Well, in episode 11, a force storm, yes, I'm serious, I'm not even going to bother trying to explain this, reportedly broke a lot of criminals out of jail, and Frost decides to escape as well, but only to capture and bring back some escaped metas. As a result of this act of heroism that Frost has clearly never done before, the state decides to change her sentence from life in prison without the possibility of parole to just a few months of parole.
That and a good word from the Flash, and I got out on probation for good behavior.
What? You got to be kidding me. Are you shoving a broadsword up my ass right now? What the hell? How does a state that wanted Frost to answer for her crimes flip just like that? That's a big difference between the two sentences. And what makes it worse is that now the 2 Frost episodes are completely pointless. If you took out that she got arrested from the plot of the season, nothing would change. And Caitlin's only other contribution to this season was fixing Ultraviolet, who died the next damn episode. Not only did the writers dumb down Caitlin, but made her and Frost, who in Caitlin's case been around since the pilot, absolutely pointless this season. No character is safe from Season 7's goal to destroy everything. I already talked about Nash's pointless sacrifice where he kills himself to give Barry his powers back by activating the artificial Speed Force, only to have Barry later turn off that same Speed Force so Iris can repower it, leading to his death being for nothing. Oh, Vibe comes back. Yeah, the show decides to turn Cisco into Mecha Vibe, completely giving the middle finger to all of Cisco's development during Season 5 of him not wanting to put his life on the line in the field anymore. However, the cream of the stupid character crop has to be Iris and Barry. I'm including these two together because they both make very similar mistakes. One of the biggest ones is their relationships with the forces and how it affects their thinking. I already mentioned how these new forces were a byproduct of Barry and Iris reviving the Speed Force. Fast forward to later in the season, and the new forces have given their powers to individuals in Central City. Alexa for the Strength Force, Bashir for the Sage Force, and Dion for the Still Force. However, the Speed Force is trying to take out these people who became the entities for these forces, and Barry can't stop it from killing Alexa. So, in episode 9, he comes up with a plan to use the Timeless Wells to go back in time and stop the forces from being created. Now, despite the fact that this is once again time travel, Barry and Wells' plan wouldn't cause any change to the timeline.
I will create a protective time bubble, right, from that moment until now, preserving those days in this timeline, preventing anything from changing.
If that's the case, it seems pretty legit if you ask me. But for some reason, Iris doesn't agree with this.
And what about the other force that was born that night? Nora, if you uncreate
We're only
her...
going to target the new forces, not Nora. That's the plan.
And what about the risk to Nora? Does her life not matter at all?
Nora's not a person, Iris. She never was.
I'm with Barry on this one. The Speed Force is not a person, and if going back in time can prevent these people from dying without damaging the timeline and still having the Speed Force around, then what is the problem here? Thankfully, Barry sticks to his guns throughout most of the episode. Until Joe talks to him, and everything comes crashing down. This is because Joe tells Barry that, get this, these forces are like his kids.
I mean, these forces, they're not my children.
You sure? You said it yourself. You brought them into this world.
This guy is fucking stupid!
No. No, 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 no. What drugs are you on? These forces aren't like kids at all. It's not as if someone like Alexa was born that night. She had a life before this, along with the other forces. Not only does it give us cringy scenes like this,
We're not that lucky, are we, Dad?
but it's also the push that makes Barry abandon his plan. Keep in mind, by erasing the forces from the timeline, the vessels won't die. So, you have a plan with no downsides whatsoever. But because the creation was pretty, you decided to do it the hard way. Or the Deus Ex Machina power of love way. Yeah, you just saw that. They brought Alexa back to life through the power of love. What kind of Care Bear shit is this?
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
But this isn't even the worst thing Barry does this season. Oh no. That character assassination happens at the end of episode 18. Godspeed and Barry are about to have their final showdown, and prior to this, Barry told Iris and the Speed Force to bring backup. So, who do these three characters decide to bring back to help Barry? Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, also known as the man who killed Barry's mother on top of countless other people, erased a version of Nora from the timeline, and has been shown to be one of the most heartless villains in the Arrowverse. I'm sorry, I need to take a lap. What is wrong with this show? That's right, Team Moron here thinks it's a good idea to bring this guy back.
Okay, but why Thawne?
Sometimes what makes a speedster dangerous isn't just speed.
It's having no limits on how they use it.
That is the most brain-dead explanation. You are telling me that nobody else had what you called no limits that would be willing to stop Godspeed? Plus, Barry got pissed when he thought that Thawne killed him. This is your arch enemy. What did you expect? I'm surprised he didn't kill him. This could have been a situation where, on his own, Barry has to contemplate killing Godspeed throughout the episode, but in the end, uses his intelligence as a way to beat him. However, that would require effort, and we all know that's not what this show's about. Now, on top of all that stupidity, when the fight is finally over, and the Reverse Flash tries to double-cross Barry, it's shown that he is faster than Thawne for the first time. So, what does Barry do? He lets this murderer, this awful human being, escape, and doesn't even think about going after him.
Dad, Thawne's still out there.
Yeah, and he'll be back someday, but that's future us's problem.
God, Iris almost got out of the rest of this season relatively unscathed. She contributed nothing the rest of the season, but the fact that she co-signed on this plan boggles my mind. However, with Barry's speed and intelligence, not only does he still fail to catch easy criminals, not only does he require a pep talk every episode to solve a problem, not only does he forget the rules of time travel, but he knowingly makes a decision that could potentially put other lives at risk. Fuck this show. Dear God, alright. There must be some good things from this season, right? Cisco was fine, he had some good moments. Chester, he's grown on me, he's not half bad and is a decent replacement for Cisco. Bart's cool, I like that Jordan Fisher is getting big work. Allegra's hot, I genuinely don't have praise for this season. And you know what? It was doomed from the start. Within Season 7, there is a problem that created a domino effect that, if it was fixed, would drastically have changed the outcome of the season. I'm talking about the episode structure. You're probably confused about what I'm talking about, so let me explain. When the current showrunner, Eric Wallace, took over The Flash, he decided that rather than having one overarching story throughout the season, he would do several shorter ones called graphic novels. Yes, that really is the name, and yes, it is stupid. Anyway, the way Season 7 is broken down goes as follows. Episodes 1 through 3 wrap up graphic novel 2 from last season. Episode 4 through 11 are graphic novel 3. Episode 12 through 14 are filler. And lastly, episode 15 through 18 are graphic novel 4. Just by listening and seeing this breakdown, it should be abundantly clear what the problem is. The show has no damn time to tell these stories. Eric Wallace and the writers are trying to take these storylines that normally would take full seasons to tell and condensing them into smaller chunks. Now, I'm not saying this style of storytelling can't work, but if you're going to make this change, you have to give each storyline proper time for setups and payoffs. Otherwise, the emotional climax will fall flat. Both stories told this season have this problem. With the Forces story in graphic novel 3, the payoff relies on two things: the audience empathizing with the Speed Force, and to have these forces feel like a family. This has to be achieved in 8 episodes, and it fails spectacularly at it. The Speed Force ends up turning into an antagonist for Team Flash, but this flip from overly supportive towards Barry to help me or die takes 1 episode, which happens out of nowhere. And we are later supposed to feel bad for the Speed Force. It makes you feel like you just got visual whiplash, as it completely takes you out of the story. In regards to the other forces, Alexa and Bashir get 2 episodes for us to learn about them, and Dion gets 1. But by the end, they're supposed to feel like a family, when they only interacted with each other for 1 episode. That doesn't work! There's not enough time to know anything about these characters beyond surface level traits that would barely pass as a Wikipedia summary. The writers must have known they were on borrowed time, because all of the background information we learn about these characters who are integral to this plot are in exposition.
They were fleeing the country for tax evasion, and they left Bashir behind.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's true. I was an addict.
I'm supposed to be the next Patrick Mahomes, man.
This story could have fit into a whole season, hell, a 15 episode one, but not 8. Imagine if instead of Alexa saying that she used to be an addict, we learn about it over time. Maybe Team Flash recruits her early, and we see her using her powers kind of like an addiction, which could also be one of the reasons the Speed Force turns evil in the first place. It could see Alexa as a threat that's taking his powers for granted, rather than someone who could be helped. But we aren't allowed to have that kind of development. We don't have time for that. We need to have 3 episodes of filler, because this season definitely needs that, then have a fucking 4 4-episode arc on Godspeed. Are you kidding me? 4 episodes? I have taken shits more developed than this story. It feels so rushed. We learn about August Hart's villain motivation at the start of episode 18. What kind of drugs are you on to have us wait till the season finale to learn about our main villain? Back in The Flash Season 5, it felt as if the story was being dragged on because our main villain wasn't strong enough to justify 22 episodes. However, this graphic novel system is a massive overcorrection, as now, instead of a story that feels stretched out, they feel rushed and underdeveloped. And like I said, it's not like this kind of storytelling can't work, because it not only can, but has been done before. Where, you may ask? That's right, My Hero Academia, baby! Woo! Or to be more precise, most shonen anime. You see, episodes within seasons of anime often are broken up into arcs, which are pretty much the same as the Flash's graphic novel system. Smaller stories that flow into each other throughout the season. Let's look at My Hero Season 4 to further break this down. Besides the first episode, which is pretty much a recap, and the last 2 that are to set up the conflict for next season, Season 4 has 22 episodes containing 3 main arcs. The Overhaul arc, a filler provisional license arc, and lastly, the School Festival arc. All of these have much better emotional payoffs than anything in The Flash Season 7, because each story is given as many episodes as it needs to have a coherent and well-structured plot. The main arc for this season is the Overhaul arc, as it has the most characters to introduce and develop, plus has one of the highlighted fights for the season. This arc was told within 14 episodes, and in that time was able to develop our new characters, break down our villain, and further push our already existing characters along their journeys. The next 2 arcs are fairly low stakes and don't require as much time, so as a result, the Provisional License arc is only 3 episodes and the School Festival arc is just 6. These episode counts all fit the kind of story the show is trying to tell, and it gives the audience enough time to breathe so the pacing doesn't feel too fast. This is where The Flash fails. It's trying to tell several high-stakes stories in such a short time frame, and as a result, everything becomes underdeveloped and the plot feels rushed. It doesn't help that the show takes time away from the main plot to focus on other characters. My Hero Academia has a massive cast too, but we only touch on the characters that play a role in the current arc. I often complain that the Arrowverse shows have a problem with too big of an episode count, but never did I think that that change would backfire so much. If you're going to tell several stories within a season, you need more time. Otherwise, you create a quick, incoherent mess. Now, just like clockwork, with Season 7's failure, the obvious follow-up question is, can Season 8 be better? It seems like a stupid thing to ask, considering the track record the show has had, but I still think it is something we should discuss. Season 8 is going to start off with a 5-episode crossover, called The Flash Armageddon, and while the trailer doesn't give me a lot to work with, it does have signs that the show is taking a step in the right direction. That being, for the first time, an Arrowverse crossover will be on one show, meaning all 5 parts of Armageddon will air on The Flash. This is already addressing the graphic novel problem that affected Season 7. Normally, these crossovers are able to tell, at minimum, a semi-coherent story within that time. So right off the bat, our first arc for the season looks like it'll be much better developed than most of Season 7. Now granted, with this crossover, it's kinda hard to have world-ending stakes after an event like Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was the end of the multiverse. Plus, we don't know too much about anything beyond this crossover, but I'll take whatever win I can muster up and just pray for the best.
Hey, you been working out?
Yeah, thank you for noticing.
The Flash Season 7 can best be described as a car crash that happened on the side of the highway. It's such a disaster, but you just can't look away. This season fails on every level, and has next to no redeeming qualities. I don't know how many times I need to say this, but I feel so bad for the actors and actresses on this show, especially the original cast, because it must be rough to get on set and read this crap the writers came up with on the ride there. I get asked quite a bit why I still watch these shows if they make me so mad. Well, besides the fact that I get some sick enjoyment out of bashing the stuff I hate, there is also a part of me that still enjoys sitting down and watching these episodes week after week. Maybe it's routine, but it honestly makes me part of the problem on why the show doesn't change, as I'm still giving this monkey turd my view. However, with all the crap I watch, I still haven't been jaded from it yet. There is still a side of me that believes these shows can get better. And I've been on this train wreck for this long, might as well see how it ends. But even with all my optimism, there is no positive spin I could give season 7. Every character was destroyed, nothing made sense, and worst of all, it manages to eviscerate any goodwill left with the show. All of these points are why The Flash season 7 is worse than you remember. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think of season 7? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys like it? Is there anything big that I missed? Just let me know all down below. It's finally done. I'm finally done with The Flash season 7. God, this season has probably made me the most mad out of anything I've watched. This video alone, like, it's been hyped on this channel for a while. For months I've been talking about this video, and finally here. It's finally done, and I can safely say it's probably my best video I've ever made. If not very close to it. Definitely better than the Superman and Lois video. I feel like I could have done that video better. I don't know what it is. Just when I watch it, I feel like I could have edited it down a bit more, maybe make it a bit more compact, probably take some things out, add some new things. This is why I'm going to make a video on Superman and Lois season 2 once that's all finished, because I don't know, I feel like it didn't feel like it was my best work that I could have done with it. I still like it, but I'm going on a tangent. With this video being done, I really have no concrete plan for what future videos are going to come out. So, hopefully you guys will be pleasantly surprised. Hopefully you guys will be Hopefully you guys will be pleasantly surprised with the new content that'll be coming in the future. Last thing I want to talk about though is that I absolutely love your guys' support on everything this channel does, the comments, the tweets you guys send. It's genuinely amazing, and I want to interact more with you guys. And there's been something I've been wanting to try to do for a while, and now is kind of the best time to do it. So starting tomorrow, at the time of this video coming out, Tuesday, November 16th, I believe, at 12 p.m., we're going to be doing the first live stream on this channel. Yes, we're going to be doing live streams. I have big plans for it, right? Hopefully it'll go smoothly. Never live streamed before, so it'll be a big gamble, but we're going to be talking about the Supergirl series finale because, I got some things to say about that. Talking about the Flash, obviously new season is going to be starting up that day, so we'll be talking about that a bit, and just other stuff I've been watching during stream for a few hours, and see how you guys like it. More information about these live streams will be in community posts that I'm going to be putting up as we get closer to the time, and just know for now that I'm going to start live streaming, so feel free to come in, check it out, and say hi. Maybe eventually I could play a few games. I honestly just want an excuse to play that new Guardians of the Galaxy game. I've heard good things about it. But yeah, stream's coming soon. Check it out if you want. But I think I said everything that I needed to say. So once again, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys liked it and you're new to the channel, hit that like and the subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you're always notified when I release new content, and it helps with algorithm stuff. Anyway, my name's been Gio, and I will talk to you all later. Peace. It's over.